correct use of literally.
Yeah. But anyway, race has started on the RC channel, so we just gotta wait for these bad boys to get started, and we'll see how this goes. And right off the bat, we start with a book in Sanctuary and a glove in Link's house. Incredible.
Okay, I'll take the generosity at the start.
So do you go straight to desert at this point?
Surely you hold off a bit and just hope, see if you can get a key or something. Because right now, like... it's what, 2 chests without a key?
Yeah. If this was like open mode or... Well, yeah, it couldn't be standard because they'd be going through escape right now. But if it was open mode, I would make that beeline right there. As soon as I, go through Kakariko, maybe find the lamp or something. Sword, maybe? I don't know. Early book always tends to lead you towards desert. But anywho, give you guys fill in on exactly what Keysanity is, especially basically all the dungeon items, including small keys, big keys, maps, and compasses, are in the general pool of the game. And so they're going to be looking for stuff as well as items to complete it and whatnot. We got some good items already to start. Boots for TruzzL down in the maze race and a mirror in the secret passageway.
Now, unfortunately, I didn't quite catch a glimpse of what anyone saw in the Lumberjack Cave, that anxiety cave.
I believe it was a heart piece.
Okay, so that's not too bad. I hate it. When you go in there, you see a small key and you go, I don't know if I have to do Aga.
Oh man, it's you have that, or like library is a small key, or Zora Ledge is a small key, or Lake Hylia Island is a small key, or Floating Island is a small key. You're like, come on, man.
Yeah, those ones are terrible. We saw Jet in the Thieves' Hideout in the woods find the Hyrule Castle key, which is probably the least useful key in the whole game.
Oh wow, TruzzL with the legendary routing, getting the boots, and immediately getting the Moon Pearl. So for TruzzL, only 1 item away from Darkhold access, whether it be another glove or the hammer.
Yeah, one of those times when going the South Way really pays off. Everyone else has a bit of backtracking to do, especially if they don't run right into the race game.
Yeah, and the nice thing is TruzzL is also going to be able to save a little bit of time routing through here. Wow, and a bottle in the tavern right there, so you can just immediately knock out the sick kid.
Kind of like it's intended to be there so you can go straight to sick kid.
It's almost like the vanilla game. And there's the lamp. All right, so now do you go to desert? No, you don't go to desert. And was that a flute in the bottom of the well?
A flute, the Turtle Rock big key. This is a very generous start.
All right, this is too nice. There's got to be something later on in the game that's going to make them spend 45 minutes looking for it. Because this is just too generous. This is too nice.
I would say the only negative thing so far is that they're a bit starved for rupees, comparatively. Rambler's Houlihan might pay off here. But, we still got a few chests to check. There still could be a 300 in the village.
That's true. Maybe these players will get bailed out, or Houlihan is still alive in the routing meta of this game. Yeah, you see a couple players, DT, right now taking advantage of this little bomb shop to fill up on bombs as opposed to spending money on getting rupees. Or spending money on getting more bombs. And Chicken Hut only having a 5 capacity arrow upgrade, so nothing to value. So we're still waiting to see what is in Blind's basement, but all these players kind of making the same route to the same area. Rambler now picking up that Hyrule Castle small key, which all of a sudden, no. Actually, that is super useless because they have the glove already.
I mean, it's nice, right? You can go in the back of Hyrule Escape and then walk to that chest the faster way. It's nice, but it's not going to make or break the game for anyone.
It's nice, but I guess it's nice to get it out of the way so you don't get trolled by it later in the game where you're like, the last key that I need to beat the game. Oh, it's Hyrule Castle. Because that always happens with Skullwoods or Mire small keys, which are also primarily useless. They're convenient for routing and in a sense required by logic, but
there's another bottle. And the flippers.
And a small key for Tower of Hera.
I'll be interested if that bee bottle makes for a good bee or not, because that's a free 100 rupees if they want.
Yeah. So that could potentially be the bailout, but as far as I know, you can't actually sell the bee until you buy the bottle.
You definitely can.
Are you sure?
I have used those 100 rupees to get the 100 rupees I needed to sell to the vendor.
He still owes me money from my first tourney race where he refused to buy my bee.
Well, you might have to take him to court over that. I can't help you in this case.
It's time. It's what's that? There's like some sort of like doctrine or something that, you know, if you wait too long, then it's already past the availability of it. I think we're already past that now.
I don't know the Hylian statute of limitations. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I'll have to find myself a lawyer. But anyway, Flippers is nice because now all of a sudden all these Zora locations are within logic. Though Boots plus Moon Pearl, a lot of players would probably rather be able to do the water walk thing because it's much faster. They can actually still do the water walk if they set it up from like Mini Moldorm Cave or Ice Rock Cave, but we're a little a ways away from that. But we'll see what the next routing options are going to be. Jet going to be picking up his boots here in a minute. Rambler won't be too far behind. Wow, was DT farming rupees, or did he just conveniently have just enough rupees to buy the bottle bender item?
I think he just conveniently had enough.
The bailout!
So with that early flute, I think we're going to see a lot of fluting to 7 in just a second as these runners finish up. What I'm really curious is, 3 of these 4 runners have the book. Is anyone going to do that early ped check for us?
I highly doubt it at this point. What I am more interested in is players opting to flute to the desert just to see what's on the ledge real quick, because they have the book, so that item is available.
Well, and speaking of desert, DT just found the desert small key in the bonk rocks, so that makes that about twice as attractive as a play.
There you go. There you have it. Jet now picking up his Moon Pearl, while TruzzL picking up that Desert Small Key. So good thing checking that. You know, fortunately, you know, if you routed from the south side of Kakariko, you would finish your route at the Bonk Rocks. But some players might, you know, accidentally forget to check Bonk Rocks. But of course, all these players are going to eventually have to go back to head to the back of Escape, and they might do it with a save and quit from Sanctuary. So.
Well, TruzzL's showing us the back of Escape, but DT is running into the woods.
Oh, man. Some good info coming up.
Back of Escape.
There's a sword. Good stuff.
Half a heart container, but more importantly, a weapon.
I want to point out real quick that TruzzL did opt to use a bomb to blow open that wall. You can just bonk into it with your boots. So if you want to save a bomb, that's the best way to start.
And DT saying just couch cash on the ped. So sorry, Chad, if you were hoping for a pedestal seed.
It's already dead. But that's when you have, especially when you have the boots and the flute, and you still haven't like done the Lost Woods section. Just get that ped check out of the way.
I mean, this is Keysanity. We're probably going to see most of the dungeons done anyways. Was that a glove for Jet?
Yeah, he hasn't been to Link's house, so we already have Dark World access.
Wow.
Once our players go to Mini Moldorm Cave. And there is the Ice Palace Big Key. I'm assuming Jet picked up his flippers. If everyone else has their flippers. Unless that was... No. Yeah, because that was in Blind's basement.
That was in Blind's basement. I'm not sure if Jet did return to the back of the well area, but even if he skipped it, I don't think it was important.
DT now about to get his sword, while TruzzL's going to be getting his Titan Mitts, as well as Ice Palace Big Key. Oh, there's another sword! Alright.
Okay.
Ice Rock Cave. So we got Lamp, Master Sword, Titan Mitts. This is a very generous seed so far. I am actually still surprised that Jet has... The glove was in Link's house.
Yeah, Jet doesn't have a power glove, or sorry, a Titan's mitt, because he hasn't been back to his house, because why would you go back to your house when you have all this other beautiful stuff to do?
Oh man, and Rambler... Oh yeah, and the Mire was in the secret passageway. So, he's going to opt to use that. And we got our first Dark World entrance from TruzzL.
That was very quick. We also saw DT run to the sewers chest in Hyrule Castle using that small key he picked up. It was just a heart container.
Still nice to have. Very early game. You need all the hearts you can get, especially when you already have Dark World access, and those enemies pack a powerful punch in the Dark World. But we are getting our first desert check. Only a heart container on the ledge. Curious to see if DT decides to grab that while he's over here. I don't see why not. You can actually check quite a bit in here. Of course, he doesn't have the big key, so he can't check the big chest, nor can he kill the boss. But
you know, all he needs is the big key, and he's got a fire source, he's got a real weapon. He can get through to the boss if it really comes down to that.
Oh, and Jet now picking up his mitts from Link's house, so... And it looks like he'll be making his play over to the secret passageway where he's going to get his Mire, and then, you know, I could easily see him opt to go ahead and do all of Hyrule Castle maybe at this time.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
And as well getting his other... Wait, no, he already did Back of Escape. That's why he has a Master Sword. Got it.
That's right, he's at Master Sword. Rambler's going to get a sword from Ice Rod Cave in just a second here. That'll be Rambler's first sword. And DT getting 2 Ganon's Tower keys in Desert.
Jeez.
You know, given how much DT and TruzzL have open to them right now, Ice Rod Cave is probably not at the top of their priorities.
Yeah. The nice thing is with the flute, though, it's such a quick trip over there, but players might be opting to wait until they maybe have money for Zora before heading over there. And now, especially with the Dark World access, you could even, like, save... Well, let's... No, you could probably save, like, a trip to Catfish first. Catfish into Zora and all that stuff. But first pod key of the game in the first chest of Escape, and Rambler is not too far behind Jet. Yeah, just as a reminder, these are 2 different races that are happening at the same time, same seed. The top 2 players are racing each other, and the bottom 2 players are racing each other. But it's still kind of fun to compare them as 4 players in the same race.
Oh, absolutely it is.
Gotta love those Sora beams, eh, Jet? So good. Yeah, unless I missed what that chest was, it doesn't seem like we're finding much of value in Skullwoods yet.
No, TruzzL's, I mean, he's clearing it out, and everyone's going to do that eventually, but he's kind of come up short here. But he's got the whole village still.
Ooh, he's gotta be careful, down to 1 heart. Not a good place to be. And
yeah, those extra... Yeah, DT's 2 extra heart containers could give him a bit of an edge here.
And our first map to Desert, as well as a small key for T-Rock in C-shaped house for TruzzL. The nice thing about saving Hyrule Castle till now, or well, just having that Mire immediately right outside of Hyrule Castle, is the ability to just Mire back out instead of having to death warp like a lot of players do. But I like this play. He's going to go ahead and check this 1 chest up here. He has access to it.
He has access. All things considered, it's a pretty quick check.
TruzzL grabbing a big 300 in the first chest of Thieves Town. And just a big 20 for Jet, so nothing really of value. Though, he's still kind of looking for money, so I guess that's not the worst thing. Let's see where he heads to next.
No, he's going to make the... Oh, he's not even doing Desert. He's going to do the Mire area with Mire to Desert later.
Oh, nice. Good play.
I want to point out, we're not even 15 minutes in, and these routes are all over the place.
Yeah.
No one's doing bad routing, but everyone's gone a separate, interesting way here.
It's going to be great, because, like, hour and a half, hour 45 minutes in, like, I'd say at least half these players are gonna somehow just collide and be like seconds apart, maybe a minute apart.
So often there is, in Keysanity, some sort of bottleneck. It's just a question of when does that happen.
Oh, we got a mushroom from the chess game, so there's a starting item. Everybody loves that item, right?
That item's great. My favorite thing to do with it is pretend I have the magic powder.
Maybe we'll see that. Rambler now picking up that Desert Palace small key. Let's see if he decides to go there next. Oh, Desert is our first pendant that we're aware of. So that's good to know. So that means we have that, and then once our players eventually make their way over to Sahasrara, they'll be able to find out where the green pendant is. And that's 2 pendants we'll know about. TruzzL, on the other hand, gonna be probably routing down, might be grabbing the frog along the way. We'll hit up the bomb shop and find out what the Pyramid Fairy crystals are. Crystals 5 and 6.
Yeah, and when he went into the bombable hut there, the brewery, as we sometimes call it, he found a key for the castle tower. So if he wants, he can actually grab both chests there when he's doing Hyrule Castle. That could give him a bit of an edge.
Wait, who did this?
TruzzL.
Which chest? Oh, and the bombable hut was the castle tower key?
That's right.
Oh man, that's nice. Yeah, unfortunately though, he hasn't been to Hyrule at all, so he doesn't have that mirror. So you can't really... If you had routed this slightly different, like had gone to the secret passageway early, had the mirror, then you could like take the flippers and like swim around to go to Pyramid, check that, and then mirror and do all of Hyrule. But with the frog in hand, he's probably going to opt to focus on that.
Yeah, it's really too bad he doesn't have the mirror for this South Dark World part, because, Cave 45 is right here to try and do.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, if he had the mirror, he probably would have just gone ahead and done the blacksmith stuff right away, but we have our first Death Mountain from Jet. And we got T-Rock. I missed what the other one was.
T-Rock and Tower of Hera, I think it was, for the 5-6 crystals.
All right, that's good info. So has Jet, other than the Mire area, Jet's been kind of focusing more on clearing the overworld, the light world stuff, which I agree with. It's easy to put those off and then like kind of forget about them, or just keep going down the Dark World rabbit hole. Ew. Ice Rod.
Pod key as well.
Single
and
arrow.
that single arrow.
So DT picking up a T-Rock small key in Skull. So that's one thing that I missed earlier. And TruzzL picking up a pod key in Hype Cave.
Yeah, TruzzL's now at 2 keys for Turtle Rock, and I think DT's going to get a second one as well pretty soon. And, that makes me start thinking, okay, we don't have Cane yet, we don't have Hammer, but how soon does this seed want them in Turtle Rock?
Oh, man. I can't imagine. Ooh, we got a Swamp Palace map, so we'll be able to find out what that dungeon is. And Jet does have the small key for Tower of Hera, so we could see a Hera basement check at this point.
Yeah, and a third, I think, pod key coming out of the mushroom from the witch. So a lot of runners like to say, 3 keys is when I want to go into Palace of Darkness. We might be seeing that soonish from TruzzL.
Oh, we got a North of the Graveyard check from DT. Coming up, and it is a small key to Castle Tower. Oh, well. Interesting. So that's the only one you really need. So now we've seen, 2 Castle Tower small keys now?
That's both of them.
And no one's doing Aga, especially with the Lumberjack item being nothing, so.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to get trapped there.
Highly doubt it. But TruzzL here about to pick up their Master Sword, which they'll be really excited about. And I'm about to find out what is in this Hera basement. You know, sometimes you just gotta work with whatever you have, and all Jet has is a small key for Tower of Hera, so it seems kind of silly to not at least come in here and grab this and see what it is while he's up here. Alright, what are we gonna find? Ooh. Just some Zora money.
I mean, it's just Zora money. On the other hand, it's Zora money.
Yeah,
And
actually
TruzzL's not that much.
He actually needs Zora money, so that was actually probably not the worst find. And he's gonna immediately go with that Zora money. Check out all the Zora domain, all the flipper stuff over here. So yeah, we've seen portions of Desert. We have yet to see Eastern Sahasrara. We haven't seen Pod yet. We don't have access to East Death Mountain yet. Don't have access to Ice. We could check the first chest of Swamp, but that's about it.
That's an unlikely one, I think.
And,
Rambler's doing South Dark World now. He's got the mirror, and we're going to see a purple chest eventually.
Oh, nice. And a Bombos tablet as well, so...
Oh, that's
a lot of
right.
potential.
With this early of a Master Sword, you can do Bombos at 21 minutes.
This has been a very interesting scene. It's one of those things where it's like, the game's going to give you a bunch of items, but then it's going to hide all the big keys that you need elsewhere.
Oh, of course.
Or vice versa. It seems to be the natural order of Keysanity. But Jet, just a couple steps behind TruzzL. Both players going to be making their way into the Zora domain and getting some potential life lessons. We'll find out what it's going to be. Now, finally, if you see a dungeon map in Keysanity on Zora's Ledge, do you spend the time to go get it?
You know, probably not in this case. And the reason is, you know, in Keysanity, you end up clearing most of the dungeons anyways. You find out about 3 of the dungeons no matter what from talking to NPCs. Today, if you're TruzzL, you get the cape from Zora. But you have enough information that I don't know that you go out of your way, especially when you're basically dipping every dungeon and often full clearing them all anyways.
Interesting insight. I would get it because you have the boots. But at the same time, yeah, you're kind of right. Like, it really does... Oh, wow. So that's a very late book for TruzzL.
That's a very late Sanctuary chest.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it depends, because, yeah, if you know that a dungeon is a crystal or pendant, it might change your routing. But the game doesn't really... I don't think it really works that way. It kind of just puts items wherever. Unless, like, you know, it's something is put in G-Tower or something, and you need the crystals for those. But... So a lot of times players will just kind of blindly go into dungeons, regardless of whether they're a pendant or a crystal. But, I don't know. I like having the info.
Well, and, you know, we'll have to see someone actually do a map check here. We've got a lot of maps so far. We've almost got kind of the perfect knowledge for where the credents and pistols, or pendants and crystals, are.
My favorite things.
Sorry, I got my Merdswicks there.
You know, it happens to the best of us. Alright, well, something's got to give at this point. We are still on the lookout for some items. TruzzL, this is going to be their first time into Hyrule Castle, but we'll get to check that second chest in Aga Tower, so that's good. Oh, wow, and just now checking the bottle vendor. It's a good thing it was nothing, otherwise I'd be pretty stressed out. Rambler's got to be a little careful here. He's sitting at 1 heart. I don't know what their potion contents are at the moment.
I think Rambler is trying to... Sorry. I think they've got a B and...
an empty.
A green? Because it was a green from the back of the bar.
Right. You're right. Okay. Gotcha.
I'm starting to think their next progression must be over in Palace of Darkness.
It's got to be Pod or Sahasrara Eastern, because that's like the only place we haven't seen yet. And
yeah. I mean, we've got 3 pod small keys spread about the world. It's a pain to get over there without hammer, but you have flippers, you can do that.
Mm-hmm. And with the lamp and those small keys, I think you don't technically have the keys to get to Dark Maze, at least based on the logic, as far as I know.
No, but you got the U-shaped basement, and this many keys out there means there's probably other keys nearby, accessible soon. And I think all these players are probably capable of a hammer jump if they want to.
Oh, I'm sure. I know at least DT and Jet. I think I saw TruzzL actually practicing the hammer jump before we started here tonight.
Yeah, I think so too.
So excited to see that. It's just one of those. It's funny because like normally the hammer jump is not ever useful in Rando for the most part, but in Keysanity it's kind of particularly important. The thing is, you just got to make sure that you don't let that determine your routing, because like as with any sequence break, it might lead you down the wrong path. So you always got to be careful.
Oh yeah, and pod key logic being the mess that it is to sort out as a runner, you don't want to play with that too much for fear of sending yourself down a path that you think you should be on, but really you have no purpose on.
Right. Yeah, one of these players will eventually head that way. I'm excited to see what the second chest is going to be in Aga Tower, because it is, they have a small key, they have the lamp, it's totally within logic.
Well, and if this is an important item, TruzzL's going to get a huge boost here. I think everyone else has done Castle to some extent, and Jet's been up the tower.
Yeah, I think Jet is the only other player that's actually been up Aga Tower. Actually, I don't know if DT or Rambler have they been into Hyrule Castle itself, or just to the secret passageway?
Maybe just the very back part in the secret passageway.
Okay, well, only a heart container. Still nice to have when you're this short on health. But let's see if this is the Eastern pod play for TruzzL. Of course, he is going to have to route all the way around. Nope, looks like we're going to get a desert check. Interesting, he's not opting to do the Mire into desert, like we saw over on Jet's side. Oh, it looks like he just remembered, or just realized. Good.
Yeah, the trouble with trying to do that Palace of Darkness and Eastern Sahasrahla play is, if you want to do pod, you have to go in at the village, all the way at Kakariko, and swim that far. And it looks like we had crystals in Mire and pod there. Yeah,
and if I'm not mistaken, was that the last pendant at Skullwoods?
I think so.
Or no, that was not the last pendant. That was the one. So they don't have to talk to Sahasrahla now, because Sahasrahla is going to tell them old news. But that is the green pendant at Skullwoods. Yeah, pretty much at this point, all these players are kind of just following in each other's footsteps. This is looking like the pod play for DT, unless he still has to do Zora's Domain, in which he might do that, or he's already done it.
He doesn't have the cape yet, so he hasn't been to King Zora.
All right,
but he's not going to King Zora now. He's going to do that pod play. And, I really think this will pay off for him. It's got 3 items at Sahasrahla, it's got Eastern, it's got pod.
It's an interesting place to mirror for DT. Usually players will just go ahead and go through the maze, and then mirror within the maze, just go right into Sahasrahla's hut. But I wonder what his options are. Bomb upgrade, shovel, arrow upgrade. Gross.
Huh.
So I think you just stick with it.
I'm inclined to agree.
Keep checking. But it looks like he might opt to just...
Well, the thing is, DT's only got 1 key for pod right now. TruzzL's got 3, Rambler's got 2, but if I'm in DT's shoes here, I say I don't want to go into pod with just 1 key.
I agree with you. Yeah, that explains it. Interesting check. Just checking Sasala, and not committing to Eastern or pod at the time. But we're gonna see a pyramid check and probably into Hyrule Castle for DT. Oh, and there's a big key on the pyramid. What is it? Where's it go to? It is Tower of Hera. All right, so
Oh, that's nice.
that's good for DT. He can now do all of Tower of Hera the first time he goes up there. Because I think as of right now, Jet is still the only player amongst the 4 to go to Death Mountain. So
I think that's right.
interesting choice. DT does have the glove. I don't know why he's choosing to swim. This is the slower option. Maybe you just want the extra exercise, who knows?
So I'm really starting to like this route from DT, because he's bypassing pod and Eastern, yeah, but he's going to check Catfish. He's going to be the first one to do it, and then he gets to go into Zora and that whole area anyways. Then we'll probably see him go up and full clear Hera, because that's available to him.
This is like the dream, to be able to do Catfish into Zora. And even better when you have the flippers, because like now you can do everything in the Zora's domain.
Oh yeah, this is the kind of play, back in the spring tournament last year, we saw this all the time. And then the Mire started getting later and later in the game, and you don't usually see this anymore.
Oh, and we got a little extra information. Ice Palace being another crystal. So with that, it's... the only thing we have left is Eastern, Swamp Palace, and Thieves Town. One of those has to be a pendant. So...
Well, TruzzL just gave us a map check, and it looks like Eastern's a crystal.
Okay. So, Swamp or Thieves Town? Wait. I thought we got a swamp. I thought we got a swamp map. Maybe not.
We do have a swamp map. We just haven't seen a map check for it.
Okay, from that player. Got it.
4 players, 4 sets of maps. It's all over the place.
Oh, man. And Rambler, following in the same footsteps as DT, taking the Catfish play. I didn't see... did he come from the north of Dark World section? Like, north... yeah, he was doing north of Graveyard, so he took that route to get here, as opposed to the south route through Dark Lake Hylia. Alright, well, we got our first Eastern Palace play from TruzzL. I missed what the first chest was, but let's see what else we got going on here. Now, I'm assuming he routed pod like through the Dark World and then did this, or was this just straight Eastern Palace?
No, he fluted to 5 and then just ran straight in.
Okay. I'm sure that was his plan.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah. I don't know.
I've several times like fluted to 5. I'm like, all right, let's go do pot. Oh, I don't have the hammer. It happens so often.
It's a common thing, yeah. DT cashing on that shovel, he might be the first one to do that. But it's just a heart container. Not even a heart container, a heart piece.
Oh, and now we have Bombos, so all of a sudden Ice Palace is now an option.
Ice Palace and Misery Mire.
Oh, is that? Yeah. And they do have the boots, so they can get further along in Misery Mire. It's a scary thought, though. DT now cashing in that mushroom as well.
I mean, without any small keys, Misery Mire isn't really in the logic. There's a lot that's blocked off. But if you know what you're doing, and I think all these runners do, that's why they're on 1-0, you can clear every chest except the big chest and Vitreous.
Yeah, the thing is, like, we still need a hammer. There's a blue boomerang in the back of, or in the vanilla big key chest in Eastern Palace for TruzzL, so other than Bombos, Eastern Palace not really having much of anything else. Let's see what he opts to do next. But yeah, it'd be nice. A lot of players like to put off Death Mountain until they can get to East Death Mountain. So like find a hook shot, or in this case, find a hammer. So
I'm
maybe,
starting to think
maybe top of Tower of Hera will have some more value.
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, is you don't get to go to East Death Mountain until you've been up Hera Tower.
Or it could be Pod. One of the two. We'll find out. Jet now picking up his shovel. See what he opts to do next. And DT and Rambler. Side by side. DT getting in a quick map check, and we got Crystal at Swamp Palace, so that makes Thieves Town our last pendant. It's pretty nice, 35 minutes in, and us commentators have all the information we need about what dungeons are pendant in Crystal. It's nice.
Yeah, I'm okay with knowing this.
Let's see if DT opts to just go ahead and head up and potentially save the basement for later. Yeah, that pyramid check is huge for DT right now, because Rambler does not have that Tower of Hera big key because of his routing to Catfish, since he routed from the north as opposed to from the south.
Yeah, and it looks like TruzzL's going to fall into this same little vortex where you have to go into Tower of Hera, do the basement, and then it doesn't pay off, so you have to come back up later, which you know you just kind of don't want to do as a runner. You even get reluctant to go back to Hera because you say, I've cleared out part of it. How much more value can there be?
I mean, there's still, like, the dungeon's split in half. There's 3 down, like, in the basement, or 3 in the first part, and then 3 in the second part, so... But yeah, I totally understand. It's like, I don't want to go back there. I was just there. But we got our first pod check from Jet. We got our first shield from Pod. And he's all out of keys, so he will be able to check these next 3 chests, and then we'll more than likely see a hammer jump from him. Small key 2, Ice Palace. Well, that's going to make Ice Palace routing a little bit easier. So, as of right now, I think Ice Palace might be the next play. But only for TruzzL, because he's the only one with bombos.
Yeah. There's a 3rd small key for Ganon's Tower.
Great. Only 1 left to find.
And then you can not worry about keys in Ganon's Tower. What a delight. Rambler finally getting that blue mail. He's been the only one without it for some time here.
Oh, we are going to see the hammer jump from Jet. This is a double pixel perfect setup, and a lot of people have different ways of doing it. It's kind of hard when you like play as different sprites, since there's kind of different alignments for each sprite, depending. And was that the last G Tower big key?
That was.
So we found all 4, and a big 20. But hey, here's something exciting. DT is about to be the first one to get a crystal 38 minutes in. 30 some odd minutes in. Only almost 40 minutes in.
That is actually exciting. Here's something slightly less exciting. Jet picked up a 2nd shield in the Dark Maze.
And a 3rd T-Rock small key, so...
That actually does excite me.
That's a good thing. I think this is Rambler's first time in the Mire area. Could be hitting up all the stuff in Desert. All we found in here were GT small keys, I think.
Yeah, that's right. 2 there and 2 up in Hera.
But here's the thing. For Jet, I can easily see him opting to go straight to Ice Palace after this. He's going to get bombos. He has the Ice Palace big key. He has the Ice Palace small key. He knows it's a crystal.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, why would you do anything but, you know, clear out the dungeon you know you can do? Mm-hmm. It is a bit painful to do it on bombos, just because of how much time it takes, but...
Ooh. Oh. That's not a good... Okay.
Skull Woods, the least exciting big key.
All that does is get you 1 more item. But who knows? Maybe we'll have a vanilla fire rod or something. Yeah, that's going to be it for Death Mountain for DT. he doesn't have the hammer, so he can't go to East Death Mountain, nor can he even do Spike Cave. So let's see what he does next. I'd say the pod Eastern play's got to be it, but it looks like he's going to go pop into Skull Woods and check that big chest. He's going to follow in the breadcrumbs.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a few overworld spots he's missing. And that's why we see him only with 2 pod keys, where Jet and TruzzL have... Or TruzzL has 3, I guess. I'm not sure where TruzzL's 3rd pod key came from.
I thought... Isn't there one in here, or is this a map? TruzzL having a little bit of trouble. Small key to... Oh, that's the castle tower. Well, about to find out from DT's side what is in that big chest. It is a small key to Dark Palace. All right, well, that's going to send him to Dark Palace regardless, so...
I hope so.
Maybe that's a good thing. Yeah, assuming Jet goes to Ice Palace next instead of going back up to Hera. Though, I guess by the logic, you have to get the big... You have to go to that Skullwoods big chest to get that small key. Oh, looks like DT's hopping into Hyrule Castle. He hasn't been here yet. He does have the ability to check... Oh, no. He's just going to the Castle Tower key, because he's already done everything in here, otherwise.
I think so, yeah.
So he's going to get himself another heart container.
I mean, well... Oh, Jet's walking back from pod, that's right. So we might yet see him... We'll probably see him do the pyramid and then maybe head into ice.
Ooh, I wonder if that Tower of Hera big key is going to send him back up there. But yeah, this seems about right. Tons of items up front, and then now we're just down to what like.
Oh yeah,
options.
It's so exciting when your first 10 minutes give you all that progression, and then you realize 30 minutes later, crap, the entire world's been open. I'm just kind of looking around, hoping I find something that lets me finish a dungeon, and that can take so long in Keysanity.
Yeah, no doubt. Is it the feeling of finding required items that you need? Is that the best part about playing Randomizer, or is it completing it?
Oh, it's the anticipation on every chest you open that it might be something useful. That's the best part of Randomizer.
Is that why people like Triforce hunts? Because every chest could be that chest that wins the game for you?
Absolutely.
Instantly. Alright, well, Jet gonna be diving back into Castle Tower. He's already been here, but he didn't have a small key to go upstairs. Unfortunately for him, it is only a big key, but TruzzL deciding to not take the Ice Palace play and instead going for the Mire play. So we're gonna find out some information coming up here real quick.
So, you know, the knock against Ice Palace is that you can only do so much without the hammer, right? There's 3 whole chests blocked off without the hammer. And one of those is the boss. Mire, you know, you get blocked out without the cane, but if you come back with the cane, it doesn't hurt too much. So
True.
I can see why TruzzL's coming here. DT's carrying that guard that he's frozen and beating up the ball and chain guard. That's what we like to see in Randomizer here.
Beat up one guy with another guy. That's what Rando's about. Yeah, that's always a fun little thing to do. You gotta work with what you got, man, and when you get early Ice Trod, you might as well take it. Alright, so... curious to see what our next item is going to be. It's gotta be Hammer. Like, Hammer in Mire is it just seems like...
It seems... I'm with you. It seems like it's the thing that you always find in Mire. I feel like Hookshot might be incoming, just to give them that little bit of Death Mountain access without really opening up a dungeon, but... I'm kind of with you. Mire feels like it should have the hammer.
Yeah. It'd be funny if it had the hammer, because then you'd be able to get up to Death Mountain from the Hera section, but you wouldn't be able to finish all of it unless you find the hookshot up there too. Alright, and Jet, gonna go check that shovel spot, and we'll find out what his next play is gonna be. There's the other boomerang. Guys, it's fine. We got both boomerangs. We're good now.
I mean, we have boomerangs. I'm not going to say we're good based on that. But we have boomerangs.
Oh, man. Mire's not shaping up at all. Now, here's a situation that's always fun. What if you get, like, a fire rod up here where TruzzL's going? Fire rod blocked by lamp, or something like that. Oh, no. Wow, Jet not far behind, going to be making the Mire play as well, so...
What if you get fire rod blocked by a lamp? Then you've still been able to do it?
I just always find it's like when Bombos is blocking Fire Rod and Ice Palace, or Lamp is blocking Fire Rod and Mire.
Oh yeah, you
I always find those to be interesting.
I go, boy, I'm sure glad I found that item earlier. Although Lamp was pretty easy to come by today.
That's true. Alright. Let's see what we got. We only have, I think, one more chest to check after this, so... Oof, not shaping up. And it'll be interesting to see what TruzzL does here if he decides to run past the big chest in Mire to get that last chest, or if he's gonna just spend a key to go check the chest even like a little quicker.
Well, he's only got the one key left, so you might want to save that. Yeah, he's going to take the top route that saves a key.
You know what? I always forget that that's an option. Oh my gosh, I've been wasting so much time.
Oh, Misery Mire is a strange place.
Wow.
Without any real value today. So far, at least.
Well, fortunately for TruzzL, his opponent is doing the exact same thing, so he's not going to be losing out on that much time.
Well, while we were watching TruzzL, chat caught something that DT found, I think, in the vanilla big key chest in Pod. And that's the Tempered Sword.
Hey, that's a nice find. It doesn't really progress the game at all, but it's just a nice little safety to have, so... Man, that's the thing with Pod, like, when you go in there with few keys, it's like, what options do you take? Do you spend extra keys? Or, like, do you open these single chests and hope to find something? Or do you opt to, like, go the efficient route and try and get to the back section here to check more chests?
Yeah, fortunately, in DT's case, he came in here with 4 keys. He can open every door in the back, except for the Dark Maze. He can hammer jump that, and then he just needs to come back with one more small key at the end of the game. That's
true. And the nice thing is he'll come back also with the bow, so he'll be able to check the 2 chests in the bowlock section as well. But, let's see this hammer jump from DT. It's like he got it. Wow. Nice setup. Good work.
Meanwhile, Rambler had a great fight with Moldorm.
He took 1 dip, but that's about it. He brought it back. And grabbing that Skullwood's big key, which we know leads to that 4th Dark Palace. Palace of Darkness. Small key. But, what's the next play, TruzzL? Where are you off to? He might be doing the north... yeah, I don't know if he's done, like, the north of Graveyard section or not. I don't know, have we even seen Bumper Cave?
We have. At least 2 runners have checked on it while they were carrying the cape, and then they didn't go in because it was a bomb upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
So 500 rupees for that cape that so far has 0 worth. We still might see it be important for Spike Cave.
He's making the catfish play. So I would assume at this point, Jet, unless he hasn't checked Desert yet. I thought he was the first one to go in Mire. Maybe he went here without... What are you doing, Jet?
I don't think he's done this yet.
I thought he might have come here and just checked the Mire area. He might have done that relatively early before getting the small key for Desert. That would explain it. Yeah, at this point, it's got to be Ice Palace. We don't have any other options. We're kind of running out.
Seems like it's come down to that. That's what we were saying earlier, is these runners start, they get everything, they go in all different directions, and then eventually everyone's going to realize one by one, crap, I have to go to Ice Palace without hammer.
The best part is they'll probably go to Ice without a hammer to get the hammer.
That's how it's feeling. It's not the only option.
Jet might opt to go back up and do Tower of Hera, but it looks like he is making that Ice Palace play, so we're finally going to see what's going on in there. Yeah, it's really interesting because the seed gives you bombos, and all of a sudden just opens up two completely different dungeons. So you're kind of stuck in this 50-50 state. It's like, well, I could go to Mire, or I can go to Ice. And people were talking in chat, yeah, I would agree, I have to agree that Mire was probably the more efficient play because of the amount of chests you can check, which is probably why both players decided to do them.
Yeah, I think they got 7 out of 8, or 6 out of 8 in Hammer. I'm sorry, in Mire. And when they go back, they just go straight to Vitreous. Still wanting that hammer, which is why it's on my mind.
And TruzzL probably not up to go to Ice Palace yet, because he still has all of Pod to check. See how he routes it if he gets that Tempered Sword, because that Tempered Sword would have been nice for Ice Palace, but it doesn't really matter at this point since we don't have the means to complete it yet. Whoop, whoop, good. Big 20. But there was an Ice Palace small key in Pod. Man, it's so nice to have Mire when you go into Pod. Just being able to Mire out, it's a game changer, man.
So, I'm fully expecting Jet's going to find something useful here. If he doesn't, I think the only spot left on the table that no runner was checked is Swamp Palace.
Oh yeah, that one chest in Swamp.
And you never want that to happen.
It's the tile room of Overworld.
It really is.
Or of Outside GT. It's so much time to spend for one item. And there's TruzzL's Ice Palace small key, so... So where was that fourth pod key?
Skullwood's big chest?
Oh, right. Which you had to kill Helma. Moldorm. Trolldorm. All the bosses.
No, just Moldorm.
Just Moldorm. Alright, let's see that hammer jump, TruzzL. Ooh. Not going with paw strats. Wow.
Very brave, but when you pull that off, you're allowed to be.
That was clean. That was really good. He's better than me, because I still use pause buffering to make sure that I don't miss. I will say though, when you come from the top part of the dungeon, you have a lot more time to get it.
Oh, you definitely do.
From the bottom.
I personally don't use pause buffer strats. I use the try it 4 times until you get it strats. TruzzL's got that down to 1, which is much more effective.
It's pretty good. All right, well, we have 2 more chests left to check, or 3 more chests left to check in Ice Palace. This one Jet's about to get, the big chest, and then that one in the tea room. Oh my gosh. Where is it? Where's the value? Is it here? It is! There it is. Wow. Hookshot to get to East Death Mountain. The funny thing is, Hookshot is also like a convenient tool for routing Ice Palace. Of course, it's not useful at this point, but...
I mean, the nice thing about Hookshot here is I don't think Jet can be led astray by it. Like, Hookshot opens up East Death Mountain and Dark Death Mountain, and nothing else, really.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is, what are we going to find up in Death Mountain? I would assume a hammer, unless this is one of those weird seeds where hammers go mode. Well, there's ether. That might be required. We don't know. You never know. We still need to find out what T-Rock requires to get in, since that is a crystal. And regardless, you know, in Keysanity, many times you have to do all dungeons anyway.
Well, at least TruzzL's going through ice now, so he's going to get the same benefit of that hook shot. He's going to have a tough time as well, since despite having 3 pod keys, looks like he still didn't pick up that that tempered sword.
Yeah. Yeah, DT's the only one that's going to have that tempered sword for a good chunk of time, because Rambler is done with pod as well at the time, and he did not get it either. I believe. Unless he went... I don't remember.
Rambler definitely went and got that last 4th key out of Skull Woods.
Okay.
But, you know, do you go back into pod just for that one chest when there's so much other stuff you can do?
Right, yeah, that's the scary part. Alright.
Paradox Cave.
Got some bombs and heartbeats. Yo, a full heart refill.
Great timing.
DT now making that Ice Palace play as well. Tempered Sword in hand, gonna make it a little bit easier taking out the penguins. Because there isn't really... I mean, you could use bombos. You can use bombs. There's another small key for pod. What else we got in here? Another map. Half magic. And the bow!
There's the bow!
So now do you go back to pod? When do you go back to pod? Do you wait? Well, let's see what else we got over here. Because that bow doesn't really do anything for you yet. Except gets you 2 chests in Palace of Darkness.
If you're in the name of DT when you get that bow, you absolutely go back, because that's your 5th key, and you hammer yumped. So now you can finish the dungeon. If you're Jet, you still can't quite full clear the dungeon, and so I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, we still need to find that pod big key as well.
Oh, that's right.
So once we find that, and we still need to find a freaking hammer. So, but I have good faith that we're going to find a hammer up here. Compass.
Hammer on the right side of pod.
Double compass. TruzzL now picking up their hook shot. So, all in all, they're not too far behind Jet. Maybe a couple minutes. Still has to check those last 2 chests in here. Has the Mire out, so might be opting to just skip it. Can't decide. Can't blame him. I had a seed where it got funneled down to Ice Palace, and well, there's Quake. So we don't have to worry about medallions. I got funneled into Ice Palace, and the first chest was hookshot, and I was like, well, I guess I'll bail, because now I can go to East Death Mountain. But, of course, if I kept going, I would have gotten cane, boots, and something else. But there is our 4th sword. Small key for Swamp. And another pod keys. That is all the pod keys in game.
All the value on East Death Mountain here. You know, progression-wise, only that bow, but that's a lot of keys that opened up.
And hammer on the floating island.
Oh gosh.
All right. Well, at this point, do you go to Swamp?
There's 10 chests in there. You can get 9 of them without the big key. You can get the crystal. I think you do. I think you put aside. You put aside that dream where you don't have to full clear Swamp. You put that aside and you just say, "Yeah, I want my 9 chests."
I mean, what are our other options? Head Cave, Spike Cave, the other chest in Pod for Jet. I'd say Swamp would be the play. Or do you go back? Do you go back into Ice Palace?
Oh.
Now this is pretty convenient routing for Jet, because now he'll be able to go up here and just knock out Tower of Hera. I wonder if he'll opt to check that Spike Cave as well while he's here, since he can. He has the cape. We haven't used the cape yet.
He's got half magic. Where else do you go after beating Tower of Hera? Either you flute away or you do Spike Cave and save and quit.
Hopefully he remembers. Yeah, there's a lot of times where this game will be like, hey, here's an item that you got in this dungeon. Now take that item to go get another item to come right back here and finish it. We see that happen all the time, so I could easily see this being, go back to Ice Palace and check more stuff.
Rambler setting up the hammer jump here, but I think he's a bit too high.
Oh yeah, he's setting up on the wrong setup, or the wrong one. I don't know the setup with that sprite, but I can definitely tell that's a little bit too high, so he's going to have to use that small key. Now, fortunately for him, there's nothing of immediate value in here. We do get a T-Rock small key, which we'll need for later, and a fire shield, but not the progression he's immediately looking for.
The good news is spending that key won't hurt him long term. We've seen all 6 keys.
Oh, now that's interesting.
What was that TruzzL just pulled?
He got the Desert Palace Big Key. Now, Desert Palace is a pendant, but that's 2 more items. And, I kind of like this route for TruzzL because Jet now has to decide, do I do Spiral Cave or do I do Spike Cave? And he's probably going to go, more than likely going to go Spiral Cave, but...
I hope he does. It looks like he's going maybe that way. He is going to Spiral.
So, but the thing is, TruzzL spending a little extra time walking back up through. He's going to be able to do all of it. So if Spike Cave ends up having something, that might be huge. That could change things for TruzzL here. Yeah, we got a little bit of time because TruzzL also will be heading up to take on Moldorm in Tower of Heron, getting his first crystal. Rambler now making his way into Ice Palace, where he's going to find his hookshot in the big chest. And DT going to be finishing up, or going through Death Mountain right now, where he's going to find his hammer and a few small keys, and his gold sword.
Yeah, I don't think any of these runners are complaining afterwards. And Jet is going back to Ice Palace.
The man. So we're not going to be seeing Spike Cave yet, at least on his side, but I like this play. It's a crystal. You have to go back here and do it, so it doesn't really matter if you do it later or do it now.
Yeah, you're not even going... Go ahead.
You could, so to speak, somehow get all the, find go mode and then be able to just go straight to Culture and beat him, but it's Keysanity. That's not going to happen.
Well, and the 2 chests you get in Ice Palace that Jet will go out of his way for, they're not far out of the way. It's 3 rooms out, 3 rooms back?
A couple stairways, no big deal. Oh, it's Ether at T-Rock. We actually didn't see that from any of the other players. I guess it doesn't really matter, because once you go into Hookshot Cave, you get the last medallion, so you don't actually have to check. But now we know. Thanks, DT.
Now we know. Now our trackers can mark it. Thanks, trackers.
DT now about to pick up his small key for Swamp, and then another small key for Pod. So it's going to be interesting to see what DT does next after all this, since he's already done Hera. Will we see a Spike Cave check from him? After he gets his hammer, of course. And we got Rambler trying to set up the bomb jump.
Might have been just a bit to the right there.
Yeah, I have no idea what the lineup is with this character. Now, the thing is, he doesn't actually need to do the bomb jump, because he can't beat the dungeon anyway. So, I mean, unless he's gambling on a hammer being in here and then being able to just finish the dungeon outright the first time.
I mean, it's a reasonable gamble. I've seen it happen more than once.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. But he does finally get it, so nice. Finally move on, get his hook shot, and head up to Death Mountain.
There was a great moment where he and Jet were lining up the bomb jump at the same time, and I think their bombs exploded within half a second of each other. There's a fire rod.
It's that thing I said. Bombos to get Fire Rod. It happens all the time. I love it. That's awesome. Forget about that. That's also really convenient for all of our players because they'll be able to have a much easier time taking on Cold Stare when you have both Half Magic, Bombos, and Fire Rod.
And I think in all their cases, when they get their Tempered as well, that'll be a cakewalk.
So the next curious thing is, where's that? At this point, the only item we need is Canis Maria. And then it's just a slew of big chests, or big keys. Still need the big key for Eastern, big key for Pod, big key for Mire, and then, of course, the famous GTB key. GTB key. We'll see if we find that.
Yeah, that one's pretty important.
That's a pretty big deal. But who knows? Maybe Cold Stare is also holding the Canis Maria. Canis Maria is always in Ice Palace, every time. 9 times out of 10.
There's a hook shot for Rambler.
And a big 20 in the Spike Cave. So good on Jet skipping out on that one. Saving him a little bit of time there. Jet opting to just use Fire Rod, which, you know, Half Magic, Fire Rod, Tempered. Don't even really need to spend time using Bombos to save magic. We're gonna get
easy.
Is just a heart container, so. And we got DT making the exact same play, heading right back into Ice Palace, so.
And so is TruzzL.
Wow. It's funny, all our players are almost simultaneously in Ice Palace. It's just all 3 of our players are in their second trip, and Rambler is just about to finish up his first trip. I guess he skipped. Yeah, because he's still. I don't know. He must have skipped that first chest over here on the right side, where you have to hookshot across the spikes. It's only
Perhaps he did, yeah.
only reason he could possibly be heading over here. But it looks like Jet is going to take that Desert Palace big key and check this chest, maybe fight Landmola.
Interesting play. I mean, it's a pretty quick check, but you know, you've got full access to Swamp except for that big chest, and Swamp's a crystal.
Well, even in Keysanity, players like to go mode Swamp. Just a heart container. Yeah, we do have some options with that Fire Rod in hand. We can finish out Skullwoods. There's still 2 more items back there. And it is a green pendant, so that makes for 3 items in total. And who knows, maybe if we find like the Eastern Palace big key, you could route in green pendant into finishing Eastern. Maybe if we get Pod 2.
Oh yeah, that's still on the table. And of course, the other thing about pendant dungeons is DT knows what's on the pedestal. I don't think the other 3 do.
Yeah, I think DT was the only player to check it. If any of them actually ends up making their way to Skullwoods, we might see a check after taking out Mothula.
Yeah, you know, you get the green pendant anyways, so that you can turn it into Sahasrahla. But if you're Jet in this case, I think you still go, I wonder if something's on that pedestal. I might need it.
Yeah. All right, Rambler gonna pick up his bow. Half Magic. After TT. What else was over here? Small key for Pod. And some bombs, so. Rambler not too far behind, but he does still have to head right back to Ice Palace to get that Fire Rod. And very nice 2-cycle from Jet. Missing 1 Fire Rod, so he had to opt to finish him off with the Tempered Sword spin, but nothing of value in Desert, so. Fortunately for him, despite it not paying off at all, it was a quick check. So, didn't really lose that much time, but it depends. If TruzzL doesn't make that play, this is going to even things up a little bit more. TruzzL's still a whole Cold Stare behind, so.
Yeah, I mean, so much of Keysanity and the routing and the tension as the race goes on is looking back at the dungeons you dipped that didn't pay off, and then wondering, did my opponent make that play as well? So Jet, as this next hour unfolds, is going to be wondering, okay, I spent 2 minutes in Desert, did TruzzL do desert, or did I lose that 2 minutes entirely? And it can kind of get in your head a bit.
It's kind of funny because like you go through, you full clear like a pendant dungeon and get absolutely nothing, and you're devastated. You're like, I can't win. And then at the end of the race, everyone's like, oh yeah, I also did all of T-Rock. And you're like, oh, well then where did I mess up? You know, there's more than just, you know, doing an extra dungeon that goes into factor like how these players perform or place in a race. So, and we still have a long ways to go. We're still looking for the Cane of Samaria and like 4 big keys. And you never know, this could be one of those crazy scavenger hunts for that GT big key within GT, or, you know, one of those fancy double dips where you go in to get the Swamp Palace big key and G Tower to go back into Swamp to get the big key.
I'm sure no one watching this race right now wants to see that. No one wants to see that, I'm sure.
Nobody wants to see that. Yeah, we got a useless Skullwoods small key. Granted, it is required by the logic, but Skullwoods is a pendant, so... Yeah, I like this play by Jet. There's a good chance he's going to find at least the Eastern Palace or Pod big key in here. And if he can conveniently find both, then he'll be able to just go ahead and finish off Pod and Eastern, getting 2 more crystals. And that's the dream, to be able to do both Eastern and Pod at the same time, or one after another. Not to get confused with the dream of going to Catfish and Mire into Zora. That's also the dream.
There are a lot of dreams.
There's a lot of dreams. TruzzL now finished up that cold stare with a quick fight, getting his heart container and his second crystal. So let's see what he does next. If he opts to go to desert, then Jet is not going to be losing time for his choices.
DT hasn't opted to go to desert. DT is going straight into swamp as well.
So in a comparison, these two are not too far apart. Another small key for T-Rock. That puts us at 4.
That's all of them.
Is 4 the max?
4 is the max.
Okay.
And the great thing about 4, of course, you can beat the dungeon with 3, but then you have to steal the key from the Pokey, and so you leave the vanilla big key chest untouched. With 4, you don't have to leave that one.
Yeah. Well, depending on how this goes, we got to find that Cane of Samaria before we can even make that choice, and that Cane of Samaria is like deep in one of these crystal dungeons outside of T-Rock, obviously. You know, this could end up being like a Go Mode T-Rock, but I feel like G Tower Big Key is going to be the last thing they get, or it's going to be somewhere here in Swamp coming up. Yeah, Rambler also making the Swamp Palace, or the Double Dip Ice Palace play at this point, so though he is several minutes behind DT, he is still following the path to get in that Fire Rod.
Yeah, and relative to the bottom racers, he's kind of picking up a bit of time here, because he had done the Hera play quite a bit earlier. So I'm not sure why he mirrored out there, or saved and quit out there.
Huh. I don't know. Well, he's going to be missing out on that Fire Rod. We'll have to ask him about it during the interview at the end of the game. Looks like he's opting to go...
He is going to go straight to Swamp.
Wow. And there's the Cane of Samaria, right on left side Swamp. So that's our last item that we need to beat this game. We just need dungeon keys. We need 4 big keys. More or less. Now, I'm sure all these players are also super comfortable with doing Silverless Ganon, so they're not going to be like going out of their way to look for silvers at any point.
No, I mean, those silvers might turn up just along the way as they try to find more big keys, especially the Ganon's Tower big key.
Wow, we're going to have all 4 players in Swamp right after Ice.
I like it.
Goes to show you that, you know, hour and 15 minutes in, and all players kind of coincide onto the same location. But, that's how seeds play out sometimes. It does come down to just one option. Of course, when you had that hammer, you had a couple overworld locations, or that bow, no one took the pod play because you're looking for that pod big key so you can do it in one go.
No, and I don't think we'll see a pod play right after this either. There's the GT
there it
key.
is. Nice find. That's one less thing you got to worry about. So at this point, we are not going to see much of GT. We might see a 0 out of 27 chest maybe a 1 out of 27 chest in GT.
I mean, I know we say a lot of things are the dream. There are lots of dreams in Randomizer, but that's the dream.
Go mode in GT is the dream. The Keysanity dream. So, Swamp Palace. Putting on a show for us. And at this point, we still are looking for 3 more big keys. We need the Mire, Pod, and Eastern Palace big keys. And the thing is, I would assume T-Rock is going to be our next play here. Unless Argus drops one of the big keys for Eastern or whatnot.
I think so, because, yeah, there's no more chests in Eastern that you can't do without the big key. There's no more chests in Mire you can't do without the big key. You can do 2 in Pod now that you have the bow, or you can just go clear out Turtle Rock entirely.
Yeah, but what are the chances that those 2 keys in Pod are both the Pod big key and the Eastern Palace big key?
Just high enough to make these guys worried.
Yeah, go to T-Rock. Yeah, the seed is kind of turning out to be relatively linear. It's going to depend on if one of those spare overworld locations ends up being required, holding one of the big keys. Jet taking note. He now probably has all the information he needs.
I expect
about
so.
the dungeons, and well, make the Skull Woods play. All right. Or I don't think he's done the blacksmiths or anything like that, so he might opt to. No, he's got a fire rod out, so he's going to Skull Woods. He shut me up real quick.
That's a pretty good indicator.
He's gonna go fire that frog a little bit.
We were mentioning earlier, Jet doesn't know that it's just money on the pedestal, so when you've already picked up 1 pendant from Desert, I think going to Swamp is a pretty natural progression from there. Not Swamp, Skull.
Yeah. And he's also going to get his last pod key coming up. Using that Skullwood small key. just to get it out of your inventory, You don't want to be over encumbered. You start walking slower. Could you imagine if they added that in the game? Like Oblivion or Skyrim style, where you had like a weight limit. So you had to go spend your bombs or something.
Oh no. That makes bomb upgrades go from not very useful to actively working against you.
Well, maybe we could talk about that when they move all the upgrades to the shops. But anyway, Jet getting grabbed by the Wallmaster. Imagine if you were over encumbered and the Wallmaster couldn't pick you up because you were too big.
Then I'd carry around too many items all the time.
It's just like I don't know if you guys ever watched a bunch of the daily races on Speed Gaming, but the few times we had Randomizer, there would always be a Wallmaster in the room right outside Agatu, like the spike room, or the room right before you drop into Cold Stare. And some players got bamboozled by that.
Oh, just the worst spots.
The best part about Randomizer. That and Boss Shuffle, where you drop down to fight Malthula, but you land on top of King Helmassar instead. It's
I hear you like to fuel those.
Classic comedy right there.
So DT has opted not to go for Skull, not to go for Desert. DT is going to take all his keys and go straight into Turtle Rock.
Now this seems like the smarter play. You got a Crystal Dungeon, you could full clear, do it. Jet, interesting enough that he's going for these more kind of gambly choices. And fortunately not paying out. He is going to have to go back inside and check. Oh, no. That small key is the one key that's always the small key, right? I think that's the last chest.
No, there's the one under the bridge area in
Oh, he
this
didn't check
first
that
room
one?
here. He didn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going back for it.
Yeah, once again, we'll see if TruzzL decides to go straight to T-Rock. He's going to be able to catch up a little bit of time. Jet definitely has, I'd say, the edge in execution over TruzzL, which is why he's been able to pick up so much time overall. But which is probably why he feels a little bit more comfortable probably checking these these pendant dungeons. But you know, we always talk about luck and skill and all that stuff, but if you have the execution to back yourself up, you can kind of check a lot more chests than your opponent.
Yeah, if in the same amount of time you can cover 10, 20 locations more than your opponent can, that's such a huge boost here. But of course, in Keysanity, it's not just about your in-dungeon routing, it's not just about your execution, it's about how the heck do you navigate the overworld when you have to double dip so many times.
Oh yeah, for sure. And of course, that's not to downplay his opponent, TruzzL, who I've actually never seen before. His execution is actually quite good. No major dumbs, which is always a good quality to have.
Now, he got blocked by a dead rock there, but I'm not going to count that against him.
Yeah.
I'm going to count that against the guy who programmed the dead rocks.
Definitely. For TruzzL, though, one of the things you can remember is that if you have sword beams or even the hookshot, you can actually hit them several times, like while they're still transforming into the dead rock or whatever. You can hit them again to keep pushing them away, so that you are less likely to get dead rocked. But we got another T-Rock play from Jet, and it looks like Rambler's going to be heading back into ice now that he's done with Swamp Palace.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the right play from everyone in this case. Rambler needs that Fire Rod still, so going into ice is correct for him.
But look at this. Look how close the bottom players are because of Jet's extra checks. Like, this is crazy. Like, as long as TruzzL doesn't go back to Desert or Skull, ever, we haven't seen that green pendant yet, but as long as he doesn't go there, you know, he's not going to be too far behind Jet.
No, and of course, if that green pendant pays off, then Jet gets a huge lead from doing that.
Of course. Yeah, only a couple useless small keys in T-Rock so far, including that Misery Mire small key that was in the vanilla big key chest. Where did Rambler get that Swamp Palace big key?
It's a fantastic question that I wish I had an answer for.
I think he doesn't have it. I think he did finish Swamp, but he didn't pick up the big key. I think it was a misclick.
I think he's got the Skullwood small key, or big key.
Alright, we're going to see a Mimic check from In the Name of DT. We are still looking for 3 more big keys at this point.
Well, the good news is Jet found, and TruzzL's about to find, the map to Hyrule Castle. Very helpful for first-time players of the game who haven't found the castle yet.
Dude, those maps
Less
are so
helpful
horrible. Can we... Dude, I will sit down and I will, like, redraw all the sprite work for all the maps in-game. So those in-game maps are just garbage.
I love opening boxes and finding burritos.
Alright, DT heading further, gonna be heading down into that laser bridge. We're gonna be seeing some, hopefully, perfect laser skips. He does have the cape and half magic, so he doesn't have to use the dash strats to get by him. And there's a big key too. Swamp Palace.
There's that Swamp Palace big key.
So do you go back into Swamp and check that? Or...
No, not for a long time.
Well, we'll see what's on Laser Bridge. If there's more progression on Laser Bridge, then...
TruzzL down to 2 hearts in the Chomp Room. And he's spending a long time there, which makes it more and more dangerous.
The other thing worth noting is once DT finishes this, as well as Jet, as well as TruzzL, once our players finish Turtle Rock, that does open up Pyramid Fairy.
Oh, that's right.
So there's a good chance that there'll be something there. Yeah.
Now, the moment has passed. So everyone, once this race is over, go back and watch this on the VOD. I want to draw attention to what DT did in that spike roller room, or the crystal roller room, where he used the iframes. There's the Thieves' big key.
That's funny.
And the powder. But he used the iframes from the crystal blocks to get by the roller, and then bonked over the roller back on his way out. So he went through there really quickly and stayed invincible and never took a hit. Actually, really clever execution there that we don't usually see.
Yeah, I think the general like NMG strat is, I think you utilize 2 of the Samaria blocks. So I think the second block actually gets you more iframes when you're walking away from the chest. I'd have to look at it again. But the strat that he does is usually what I do. And it's pretty snazzy. I like it. Alright, let's see this Trinex fight. Not going for backdoor strats. I'm very disappointed. I want to see a 0 cycle, so hopefully we see that from Jet. But he only has Tempered Sword, so we're not going to see a 0 cycle. So DT, you disappoint me.
Meanwhile, Rambler's made his way through Ice Palace, got that Fire Rod, now on Cold Stare.
Yeah, nice Trinex fight from DT overall. And let's see what he gets. Just a compass. So we got some options, Phylleon. What do? You go
Pyramid Fairy.
After that.
Oh gosh, how many times are you going to ask this? No, I think after the Pyramid Fairy, I think you do the back half of Thieves Town.
Yeah, that seems like the better play. I mean, there's more chests. It's either that, or we still have some overworld spots to check, like Peg Cave and whatnot, or that one, the big chest in Swamp. And can't forget about those 2 chests in Pod that we're still curious about.
So I want to say you leave that big chest in Swamp until the end, just because it takes so long to open that dungeon for only 1 chest. Thieves is good, but I'm realizing now it's only 3 chests. They don't have that small key.
Yeah, and especially with Pedestal being garbage, like killing blind does not seem very interesting.
Yeah.
As a runner, but they do have that powder, so they could route in, Blacksmiths, Peg Cave, Bat Cave, then dive Thieves Town. So we have a few options if you want to route in that. But we'll see what Pyramid Fairy has for us, and if we get some progression here, then that will alter our choices.
I mean, the other thing is, the first couple times they went to Pod, they had to do it the stupid long way, because that was the only way swimming across from the top of the south. Now that you've got the hammer and the flute, you can get there a lot quicker. Maybe you do go and check those 2 chests on the side.
I don't know. I'd at least wait for at least the Eastern Palace big key, or at least the Pod big key. I know all these players are going to be hoping that they can find both before they go back there, but there's always that slight chance that one of the or the other of those big keys are going to be in that spot. Heart Container, Big 20s, Pyramid Fairy, absolutely nothing. So now it's the quote-unquote fun part of Keysanity, or just not even Keysanity, just Randomizer itself. What do you do? You have a bunch of choices. How do you route this efficiently, and who's going to be the lucky person to find the right chest that has the next progression?
So I think the efficient play is what DT's doing here, not just for Thieves Town, but because you get the Magic Bat, because you get Hammer Pigs on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not certain it's the play that will have the items, but I do think it is the most efficient way in terms of just how many chests can you open in the shortest amount of time.
Yeah.
The other thing is, you don't want to go to Pod, not just because it's only 2 chests, but because if you're wrong, now you're walking that path twice. And no matter how much time that takes, you just feel bad when you're doing that. You really start to go, why am I playing this game? How much time am I losing by rechecking this?
Oh,
And
Hey!
I'd say that paid off with the Eastern Big Key.
all right. Well, now, do you keep looking for Pod Big Key? Because this is a dilemma, because there's a slight chance that Armos Knights could have that Pod Big Key. There's a slight chance the Pod Big Key could be vanilla and be in the bow section. There's a slight chance that that Pod Big Key could be in the Swamp Palace Big Chest.
I think you go straight to Eastern here because, yeah, it's great to knock off Pod and Eastern at the same time, but running to Eastern on its own is quick.
Yeah, especially when you have a glove, the boots. You can just go up the right side. You even set up spin speed or hook speed to run up the stairs even quicker. And it looks like DT might be just going straight for that. Now, the interesting thing here is now that we know where the next quote-unquote progression is, how long is it going to be before TruzzL goes there? Good for Jet. He's going to be getting his Eastern Palace Big Key right here, right now, and we'll probably opt to go do that and check the two chests in Pod. Which, who knows? Maybe we'll find like a Mire Big Key and then the Pod Big Keys in Mire or something like that.
Well, DT is going to give us those 2 chests in Pod, it looks like.
Yeah, interesting that Jet decided to do this before opting to do... He skipped Pyramid Fairy, correct?
He did.
I wonder if it's just a thing of, like, you know, Pyramid Fairy is great, but it takes a while to go around, and these are 2 quick ones.
Now, I don't think we didn't see DT do the magic bat, did we?
No, yeah, he did.
Oh, he
I
did.
think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he saved and quit after the magic bat. Just a heart piece. Because it's so easy to be like, well, I unlocked Pyramid Fairy. This has to be progression. Like,
Well, that's certainly the temptation.
That I need. Yeah, it's so tempting.
I had that temptation. Sounded like you did. TruzzL and DT both did. Playing against that grain for Jet might pay off. And of course,
At the same time, for TruzzL, the question is, does he now consider Desert or now consider Skull Woods? Because he's got to have those places in the back of his mind.
maybe he does, but you know, DT had Desert, DT had Skull Woods as an option, and he still was going Hammer Bakes. There's another big key, the Dark Palace one.
Wow. I forgot about the big chest. Yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I mean, this is why you do Eastern before you go check those 2 chests, because sometimes it'll have what you want.
Oh. All right, so Desert and Skull Woods, both complete busts at this point. So Hospital holding nothing, but TruzzL making the Skull Woods play, so this it's going to cost him quite a bit of time. But yeah, good stuff to DT. Getting that Eastern Palace Big Key and going straight there. And now, for him, it all comes down to, where's that Mire Big Key? That's all we need. And depending on where that is, like, this seat's is shaping up to be not too bad. The only problem is we're at that fun part of the game. Past the fun part where we have all these options, looking for a bunch of stuff. Now we're at the part where we have all these options and we're looking for one thing. So here's hoping that DT gets bailed out, finds that Mire Big Key in those 2 chests in Pod or at Helma.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's ahead right now in terms of the progression. He's certainly got the most crystals. Now he's at 5, and soon to be at 6. But you know, there's also that Desert play, that Skull play that he hasn't made. And if he doesn't immediately find the Mire Key, we can see that lead start to slip away as he starts checking all these other places.
Yeah. Fortunately for DT, his opponent he still has to finish T-Rock, and then he'll probably opt to do Pyramid Fairy. So DT's got a pretty significant lead on his opponent at the moment, and TruzzL making the Skull Woods dive is going to give Jet even more of a lead as well. So
yeah, what'll be interesting to see is if NYRambler takes that Thieves Key that he's about to get, does Thieves Town and finds the Mire Big Key there, you know, how long will it be before their paths converge again?
True. I mean, it really depends on where that last key is.
Well, DT found the blue cane in Pod, and another piece of heart.
So, we still have the big chest and Helma himself. It looks like DT's opting to go just straight up take out Helma, which I think is a better play when you're only looking for one more item, because if he has it, then you don't have to check the big chest. But he'll more than likely go back in and check the big chest if Helmastar is not holding anything.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't check the big chest now, when else would he check it?
Never.
It borders on that point, yeah.
And I'm sure partially TruzzL's decision to go to Skull Woods is probably because he acquired the ability to finish all the pendant dungeons and wanted to route in a ped check at that time, so it's good routing. Unfortunately, it's not the right choice. So, as a recap, our players, for the most part, need to go to Peg Cave to get the Eastern Palace Big Key, to go to Eastern Palace to get the Pod Big Key in the Big Chest. And we don't know what they need to do yet to find the Mire Big Key.
And yeah, it's, you know, been a fairly nice seed all along. Nothing too mean for these runners. There was that bottleneck we saw where everyone had to go into Ice Palace just to get the hook shot, only to leave and come back with the hammer on the floating island, but pretty straightforward stuff.
Yeah, and when you get GT Big Key relatively early, it's also just kind of relaxing.
And
stuff.
TruzzL made the play to Eastern Key.
Nice. DT
and
picked up a red tunic.
Yeah.
So, gold sword, red tunic, mirror shield. That sounds like Keysanity. Yeah, Rambler taking out Trinex. At least the first phases. Yep, there's the second head, so... DT now going to go back in and check that big chest, so let's find out what's in there. But now the question for him is, what does he do next? If it's not here.
Yeah. Does he go and do Skull on the grounds that it has the green pendant, which means it's an extra spot to check?
Mm-hmm. I think... I would assume he's going to go into Thieves.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 3 spots you can do if you don't have that small key, but I think that's your best count at this point.
Just a big 20. Alrighty, DT. Where do you go? Well, here's the thing. It's either you go to Skull Woods and there's 3 items, including the green pendant. You go to Thieves Town, there's 3 items. I think he still has to do Blacksmith, Purple Chest, but we already know that that's nothing.
He never cleared a desert, so that is on the table. But I think he's going to route in Skull and or Thieves here.
This is a Skull Woods play.
I mean, I think if you're in DT's spot, you do Skull and Thieves because they're right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Jet, of course, dipping back into Palace of Darkness. He's not just going to do that big chest. I think we're going to see him pick up his golden sword here.
Yeah. He's got 3 small keys, so he can check a lot.
And Rambler going straight to Pyramid Fairy.
Alright, so, nothing really much to talk about. we're just waiting for someone to, I guess, go into Thieves Town. But TruzzL now picking up their pod big key, be able to go kill Armos now, and then head right into pod, take out Helma, and probably pick up their Gold Sword as well. Jet about to check his big chest, and whoa, what? That was weird. I guess the bridge keeps on going out when you're in that room, but the enemies are frozen at the time.
Yes.
That's cool. I didn't really think about that.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe Jet might make the play into Thieves Town early. Well, actually, yeah, he doesn't have really much anything left to do.
I think if you're
Desert and Skull.
If you're Jet, you've cleared out 2 of those pendant dungeons. You can do Thieves, and the alternative is, well, Pyramid Fairy, or that Swamp Big Chest. And I think unless any runner feels like they're way behind and thinks they need to make a giant gamble, I think that Swamp Chest is the last thing everyone checks.
Well, we'll find out. This does look like a Pyramid Fairy check for Jet, but if he goes south, then we're going to see some Swamp. And he's going south. Well, this seems kind of normal. Jet has been kind of making a lot of crazier plays, or at least just different plays from everyone else, including the early desert finish, the early Skull Woods, and you know, it's Keysanity, so any one chest could be the chest, and sometimes you gotta opt to do the thing you don't want to do, because more than likely that's going to be where you need to go.
That does seem to be how it plays out a lot. I mean, you don't want to go into Ice Palace without Hammer, but that was the thing to do.
Yep. They've had this big key since... Where did they get this big key?
Turtle Rock. Crystal Whirler Room, I think.
Oh, right. Yeah. It's also... It's inconvenient. Like, of all the single chests to go check, this one's probably one of the worst. Compared to, like, you know, double back into T-Rock to check Mimic Cave if you didn't have the Mire, or checking that vanilla big key chest. But... yeah, it's either this or going to Thieves for Jet, or I don't know if he still has a couple overworld spots left to check as well.
Jet might still have Spike Cave.
I thought he did. I think he did. I want to say he did that after he went back to Hera, because he did T-Rock into Hera, and I think after Hera he went down and finished Spike Cave.
Immediately after Hera, he went back over and did Spiral. And just Bombs and Swamp.
The second time, because he double dipped Hera, remember?
Yep. That's what I'm thinking of.
Ooh, Rambler's got to be careful here. Down to 2.5 hearts.
But Chad's telling me Jet did do Spike Cave, so yeah. Right after Turtle Rock.
Grab his cape. He's got to have magic so he can get a few hits in. Oh, you got to be careful here, dude. Oh. Clutch. Whew.
Nicely done, Rambler.
That is an easy fight to get away from you, if you're not careful.
I mean, the Moth fight is an easy fight until it's not. And then it's a very hard fight when he sits at the top and the spikes fly everywhere.
And sometimes he just loves to hang out in one of those top left or top right corners. It's great. Yeah, DT making all the desert or all the pendant plays except for the Thieves Town one, which we'll have to ask him why he made these decisions, because he didn't go into Thieves Town. I guess because generally finishing up Skull Woods or finishing up Desert are quicker than doing the rest of Thieves Town. But
so the other thing I wonder is, you know, Thieves Town was a recent unlock, right? They got it after doing Turtle Rock. Mm-hmm. Skull Woods he's had for a while. Desert he's had for a long time. And I wonder if at some point, you know, you're sitting there and you go, huh, am I screwed if I just didn't check this early location?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it was that early spot, then the other runner might have checked it. They might already be in go mode. Whereas at least if you put off Thieves, then you know they couldn't have gotten that item until you got there as well.
No, it totally makes sense. Because you got to always think about your opponent whenever you're playing. But the thing is, you can easily psych yourself out, and you're like, oh man, I skipped desert for a long time. I know Lionwilla has an item. He's going to have my go mode item. He's going to have it. I have to go back. But
oh yeah, then land mode doesn't have anything, and you go, great. Now that was time spent.
Yeah.
But hey, Rambler's got
really
that instant key.
Yeah, it's really hard to like pick and choose what you want to do because sometimes players will always just go with the next progression item that they just got. So, going right into Thieves after getting it, getting that hook shot, getting the hammer, going right back into Ice Palace, get that Fire Rod. Get
I want to point out, DT just got the God Pixel in the Hellway in Thieves Town.
I wonder if it's because of the static link or the inverted link or whatever. Yeah, that's not static link. That's inverted link.
What? Just no enemies wanted to touch him there?
Yeah, it's just too busy puking, looking at that sprite. Though it is pretty fitting with his timer font.
I wasn't going to mention the timer, but it's a timer.
It's a timer.
It counts time. I'll say that about it.
It does its job. Yeah, Jet and DT neck and neck. Looking for that Mire big key.
And TruzzL's not too far behind in all this. Once he cleans up Helmasaur, I think Thieves Town might be his only thing to do.
He still might opt to go back and finish Desert, but...
Oh, that's right.
After Skull Woods was a bust, he might think, no. I gotta go forward, not backwards. There it is. That's gotta be it. There it is. Right next to the maiden. Oh,
one single sword slash from DT.
She turned right at the last second, right as he mirrored away. That'd have been scary to watch.
Hang on, what's that hero doing in here?
It's like, please save me. Oh, never mind. Oh, DT missing the bird, or the bird missing him. But with that, DT and Jet are now both in go mode, roughly around the exact same time. So all they have left to do is kill Vitreous, and then go up the tower, take out the Gauntlet, finish off Agatu, and then take on Ganon. The curious thing now is, will these players opt to grab a few chests along the way looking for silvers, or if they are completely content with their gold sword?
Given the time that silvers save, I think you do check the 4 obvious chests just at the very top of the tower. Certainly, you don't go into the basement looking for silvers.
Nah, no doubt about that. TruzzL now going to go ahead. I like TruzzL's routing because he did Skull Woods with the intent of not only checking the pedestal, but getting the green pendant to take that on the way over to Eastern Palace. So, because he knew he had to go back there anyway, and if that happened to be the right key, then that would have been perfect. But it looks like he is probably going to go... This might be the swamp play for him. Rambler now about to get his Dark Palace big key and then take on the Armless Knights. But we got a close race on team left side. Of course,
they took very slightly different routes through Mire, and that's got them pretty well synced up here.
As a reminder, these two racers are not racing against each other in this tournament. They're racing their opponents to their right. But it is really remarkable that after an hour and 48 minutes, these players are relatively perfectly synced up. Just like I said, it would happen at the beginning of the race. So that's really cool.
An hour and a half ago, you said an hour and a half from now, which would be now.
Exactly. Yeah, it's fun to watch two players. It's just like see what kind of mild, like when they decide to pause to switch items, or how they go about. Most of these players have like similar routing options, but even like when they decide to dash or whatnot. DT opting to grab some hearts along the way. And seen some spin strats from DT and some just hate and slashes from... Oh man, so because of that, DT actually overtook Jet, because he didn't have to pause because he already had his sword out.
Funny how that works out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, TruzzL making his way through Thieves Town. He's going to get that Go Mode item as well. About 4 minutes or so behind it'll be. And Rambler's up to 6 crystals. Or 5 crystals, rather.
All right, let's head up to GT. Once again, different options. GT choosing to save and quit. Jet fluting up there. So they're so close. This is great. So who's gonna get dead rocked? That's the real question. Because it always happens.
Both.
Both are good. All right. Are they gonna both opt to use the T-Rock portal? Yep, looks like it. Generally, that is faster, the faster option. Even if it's not already open for you, I think it's the faster choice.
I think what I've heard is if it's open, it's the fastest way. If it's not open, it's about equal.
Okay.
And going through the Dark World is always going to be slower, but you don't have to worry about those dang squirrels.
Definitely.
And, if you get dead rocked about once, which almost happened there, then the Dark World's faster.
It's a really good execution for these guys. It's fun to watch. Yeah, and they are... DT has 1 extra heart. And Jet has some more arrows.
That has me curious now. Where did DT go to get that extra heart? Obviously, it's not going to make the difference in any of these races, but...
Yeah, I wonder. Maybe 1 extra overworld location.
All those slight variations still add up to some degree.
All right, Rambler now going to be heading his way to fight Helma, and TruzzL now, with that big key for Mire, going to be heading into Mire to take on Vitreous. DT just a few seconds ahead of Jet, heading into the Gauntlet. Let's see who has the better execution. Going through here. Nice.
So, of course, the question to always ask as the runners enter the Gauntlet is, it's an hour and 51 minutes in. Do these two think they're winning?
I don't know. I would assume so. But that's only because, I don't know. After you do, like, Mothula and Desert and find nothing, you gotta be feeling like, ah, man, my opponent hadn't done that. They would have saved, like, 4 or 5 minutes on me. So, it's really hard to tell. But anything under sub 2 in Keysanity is generally good.
Under sub 2 is the good time, and I think both these runners are on track.
Oh yeah, for sure. Even Silverless isn't gonna cost him that much time. It's gonna be close. Well, Stalfos giving Jet a little bit of the business, taking him out with that nice arrow shot. Let's see if he uses... Oh, just barely. Sometimes you can get the right RNG to get that one middle horse, blue dude, or whatever the heck they're called, to run right into your arrow.
Zizax, I believe the name is.
Zizax. I told everyone to memorize those names, and then I didn't even do it.
Clearly.
I'm terrible.
I wasn't even going to call you out on it, but if you will, then I will too.
No silvers to take out these landmollas, but DT using Fire Rod plus Gold Sword. I think that was a 3-cycle. Let's see if Jet can save a little time going through here.
Yeah, Jet got hit by just a couple too many beams, and that really hurts in that ice room.
Oh.
Ooh.
See, I think in this scenario... Oh, no! Stupid Medusa. One of the things I love is if you have the Gold Sword, if you stall long enough in the prior room, you can get all the Lambos to spawn at the exact same time, and then you just stand in the center and get a spin, so you hit all of them at least once. And if you get the right RNG, you can actually get the second hit in and kill them all in seconds.
And if you don't get them, then presumably you get them on cycle 2.
Yeah, usually. TruzzL with a really good Vidi fight. A little short on arrows, so you might opt to use Fire Rod going up the Gauntlet instead. DT, few rooms ahead now. Short on magic. Doesn't really matter, you can grab a magic container up here. Rambler now checking the big chest in Palace of Darkness. Saving and quitting out, so he needs to go... Oh, he's gonna fly out. He needs to go to Thieves Town if he wants to get that Mire chest, or a big key.
That's right. So DT opening that one chest, I think he skipped the two in the Helmasaur room. Tons of rupees. Not gonna help him bribe Ganon.
Oh, and good thing Jet stalled there a little bit. He was really close to getting that unfortunate situation where if you go up a stairway right as one of the torches go out in the previous room, which closes the door, you can despawn all the enemies in G-Tower, including Moldorm and Aga.
Yeah, that's no fun.
And I don't think we've seen that yet. I don't know if we've seen that yet happen in this tournament or just in a tournament race in general. Maybe once.
I haven't seen it happen, but I know it's devastating when it does.
Yeah,
I just want to point out, DT opened the two chests at the top of GT, 300 rupees in each of them.
So Ganon holding all the money up here.
Yeah.
All right, but in this, the thing is, like, we're running this. It is still two separate races, but they're all in the same IRC race channel on SRL. So DT looking to take first out of the four, but more importantly, first out of his opponent. And Jet looking the same as well. Two players both on the left in Aga. Really nice Aga 2 fight from GT. DT, I did the thing you did.
Ha!
Oh, man. Jet just barely missing that triple there, but getting a nice second setup. Opting to use slashes. Blue ball on him. Not getting that other hit. Oh, and another blue ball. Worse. Oh, no. Jet, come on, man. That's unfortunate. This is one of, I think, like, this is one of the easiest fights to get tilted on.
Yeah, yeah, something goes slightly wrong and suddenly you just don't want to be in the room. And it just makes the easy part's harder.
Yeah, and all of a sudden then, like, the main Aggo, the one you actually have to hit, is completely desynced. So nothing ever, like, can hit him. So you only can hit him with the ones he shoots. It always happens, that's all. But, TT moving into phase 2. Gold sword in hand makes this fight pretty insignificant. It's really going to come down to Silverless, so...
12 hits with the golden sword needed.
Misery Mire. Oh, it was the big chest in Mire. Nobody was going to get that.
No.
Like that, nobody's going to get that. Unless they had, like, dived Thieves Town prior to getting the Eastern Palace Big Key and Peg Cave.
Yeah, I think that's the only way you'd end up checking that chest.
So, that's pretty funny. Because that's not even a very convenient... It's not a very convenient chest to get.
No, it's really not. Rambler, at least, has been to Thieves, picked up that Misery Mire key.
And he is also now in Go mode. So all 4 players now in Go mode. DT, a couple more spins left, and Jet moving into that phase 4. Gonna set up that torch glitch, and just 12 spins and or hits. But it looks like DT is gonna have this in the bag out of the 4 players. But both DT and Jet could be taking the wins today. And there he goes!
That's it for DT.
Good work. Once he walks through that door, we'll be able to read off the time that he finished with. But, yep, gonna be sub 2 from our players on the left side.
Jet probably just a couple hits away as well. And what does the Triforce say today?
Winner!
Winner.
Speaking of winner, DT finishing first place with a time of 1:58.23. So congrats to him. We're gonna wait till Jet finishes, and then we're gonna see if we can get our winners in here today. And there goes Ganon, down for Jet. Not very far behind. So it's interesting, both players were neck and neck going into G-Tower, but DT, with just the slightly better execution through the Gauntlet, was allowing him to take the race overall. But of course, in this tournament race, both In the Name of DT and Jet are our winners today. So let's give them,
Yeah.
let's give them a round of applause. It's pretty good.
Well done. They this will put them at 2-0 in the tournament, so that just means their opponents next week are going to be that much trickier than these two already were.
Yeah, 2-0 is a scary group to be in. But we're going to go ahead and grab DT and bring him in here. Welcome, In the Name of DT, and congratulations on your win. Not only in your 1v1, but in the race overall.
Yeah, congratulations.
Oh, hello guys, thank you.
It was crazy. You and Jet were neck and neck going into Mire. So that was fun to watch on the end there. You ended up having better execution overall in Gauntlet. You actually killed Vitreous first, but then took over in the Gauntlet. Some of the Stalfos was given Jet the business, and then his Agatu was a little unfortunate. But overall, GG in the race. Rambler, as you saw in RC, did get go mode right before you finished. He's in Mire right now, about to go fight Vitreous. So
Nice.
So that was fun to watch on the end there. You ended up having better execution overall in Gauntlet. You actually killed Vitreous first, but then took over in the Gauntlet. Some of the Stalfos was given Jet the business, and then his Agatu was a little... Philion, take over.
Well, we also have Jet here finished, so we're going to bring him as well.
Rambler, as you saw in RC, did get go mode right
Jet,
before you finished.
Congratulations on that win over TruzzL.
Hey, thank you. Man, it was a sloppy GT.
Yeah, the Stalfos and the Zizaks in particular seem to just mess with you a bit.
Yeah. Also, I was a little surprised that the one chest I didn't check in Mire was the silvers.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting him to say that.
I wasn't either. I was expecting Ganon's Tower, but
Yeah.
when I saw that, I was thinking, okay, nobody's getting silvers.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know.
No one ended up checking that chest because that Mire Big Key was go mode for all four of you.
Okay, there was a chance that wasn't the case for me. When I was actually going to check hammer pegs, I had a brief thought, like, maybe I should stop in thieves. I'm like, nah, that's too long. Let's just go here first. And, oh, man, if I had gone in there, that would have been good.
So you and I must have done like the exact same things. It was just pure stroke of luck to wind up finding the pod big key right where it was.
Yeah,
It's
so
double whammy.
I went through Dark World because I'm like, I can turn in the Celestial Pendant, number one. Two, I wanted to check the arrow chest just in case maybe Big Key was over there. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just go use the portal to get the pod and Eastern just in case. And then, going to Eastern getting pod key, I'm like, well, that worked out pretty well.
Yep, that's exactly what I wound up doing. And then I wound up going to Desert and Skull after that, hoping, well, first and foremost, hoping if the Mire Big Key is in the desert area, then hey, I'm already here. But it wasn't. So I did a lot of unnecessary things toward the end.
Yeah, DT, you put off those pendant dungeons till you were just looking for that last key. Jet had gone through them fair amount earlier, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I put off thieves. That was really my mistake. And honestly, Skullwoods was useless, as I found out later on. It was actually, I don't even know if there was anything good in Desert, actually. The only place you had to go was Thieves just for that big key, honestly.
The only thing in, I think, Desert just had G-Tower small keys. That's about it.
Yeah, there were a couple of keys. I couldn't remember what for.
Yeah, it was interesting, Jet, because you were the first one to do both go back to finish Desert and to do Mothula as well. And then you were also the first one to dive Swamp Big Chest instead of doing Pyramid Fairy. So I was like, what's he up to?
Well, so that was a 50-50. I'm like, do Swamp and Pyramid, or, well, Fat Fairy and Swamp, that's three things, or I can get three things in Thieves. And in fact, as I figured out later on, it was only two things in Thieves, because of the key logic, since we never got the small key. That means it couldn't put anything in the big chest, and it couldn't put anything on blind, just in case, and it couldn't put anything upstairs, actually. So the only place that was valid without the Thieves small key is next to the Maiden.
Yeah. And there it was.
Yeah.
So it would have been interesting, as we were talking about earlier, had anyone decide to dive Thieves Town prior to getting the Eastern Palace Big Key or something. So they could have gone to Mire before getting the Eastern Palace Big Key and getting silvers there, potentially. Not that it really made a difference. You guys both finished sub 2 without silvers, which, as we say, in Keysanity, if you finish sub 2, then you got it. That's a good time. It's a very good time. Speaking of finishing, TruzzL coming in 3rd place, finishing in time with a 2:04.23. So GG's to them as well.
I have to say, I was a little worried getting those Castle Tower keys early. I was a little worried this was going to be Aghanim required.
It was almost seeming like it for a while, just because of not having the hammer for so long. I was thinking maybe, just maybe, we're going to need the Pyramid Fairy items for that, until I learned that Turtle Rock was one of those crystals. It's like, nope.
Yeah, we had a discussion in chat about that exact thing, and the conclusion, of course, was you need the hammer to get into Turtle Rock, so whew, that's off the table.
Yeah.
Did you find out through a map? Or did you talk to the bomb guy?
I talked to the bomb guy once I went over that way.
That's actually in that case, to avoid the Fat Fairy Hammer situation, that's actually not bad. I didn't know Turtle Rock was a Fat Fairy crystal, but it didn't matter. Just through the course of getting the game, going through the game, getting hammer. But I got a hammer after an hour. Like, I think I was an hour on the mark when I picked up the hammer.
I think you were the first.
I must have been well past that, maybe 10-15 minutes past that before I got it. I had to guess. Because it was funny to need to go into Ice Palace to get the hook shot, to even go over to get the hammer to go back and finish Ice Palace.
Yeah, we were talking about that as an option, because this game seems to like to do that a lot, where it gives you one piece of the puzzle to go get the second piece, to go back to finish the puzzle in that dungeon you just left. And, we were also kind of expecting that with, even Tower of Hera, because, Jet went there early to check the basement, and then we saw the Tower of Hera Big Key. I was like, do you go back immediately and finish Tower of Hera? Or do you just keep following whatever other routes? So it's
something I'm curious about, actually. How many people went up to Tower of Hera early because of the small key?
I think it was everyone but you.
Oh, wow.
You were the only one that went up there with the big key the first time, I think. Where was the big key?
Pyramid.
Yeah, you were the only one that... Everyone else went up there without the big key, so everyone else had to go back there later. And I think it was because you took the north route, or you took the south route. You swam up to get to Catfish, so you did Pyramid Catfish. Well, I think everyone else did the north route to get to Catfish.
Right.
I did south as well. Well.
Oh, you did? Okay. Yeah. Well, at least...
But it was late.
Yeah.
We were late to get that big key.
I mean, DT, you were the first one to check Sahasrah's hut, and think of how late in the seed you were checking that compared to normal.
That had to have been at least 30 or 40 minutes, maybe a little more.
That's what happens when you get glove at less than 10 minutes. Or sorry,
there's just so much to do.
There really was, and that was the basis of it. Just keep moving. There's so much around the lower overworld of Hyrule, Light and Dark World, that I didn't see a reason to go up to Hera with only the small key, because there's only a couple things there versus, at least another dozen items in the lower overworld. So why not?
It was interesting to watch just because of how quick you guys got Dark World access, and how many options you guys all had, until it all finally funneled down to all of you guys going to Ice Palace. I think all 4 of you guys were in Ice Palace at the exact same time. Later, DT, Jet, and TruzzL were all there at the same time for your second trip. Rambler was there for the first time. And then all you guys were in Swamp at the same time. So the sea kind of was like, here's a bunch of stuff, and then everyone kind of funneled down to that one couple locations, and it became linear again. And then after T-Rock, it branched back out, and then came all back down to everyone going to Thieves Town at some point. So, but you guys definitely not only just have to watch it back for a fun race, but just the DT and Jet, you guys both going into Mire at the same time and just watching that unfold. Jet, you might not want to watch it, but
oh wait, man, I'm gonna watch it.
I was just kidding.
Also, if we're going by total time on the game file itself, I have to say 20 seconds less.
Yo, we take those.
But one chest more opened.
Ooh. Yeah, that's gonna dock you. Gonna add 20 seconds to your timer. Which you still would win, right? Oh, Rambler, please. What are you doing?
Oh, Rambler.
You can't put words on the screen? Maybe it says D-meme D.
That stands for
The meme, in German, I think.
Oh well, we all gotta have a little bit of fun with this.
Of course, yeah. But yeah, Rambler now about to take on Agatu. I don't know if TruzzL was available to pop in and chit-chat. Or not. But yeah, any other thoughts about the seed? Any big mistakes that you guys felt like you made? Or dumbs or anything? I felt like every choice you guys made was right. Or like was a good choice, just wasn't the right one.
I think the only thing that is really on my mind about it is that as late as it was, or at least it felt like it was super late to finally get that Mire big key, I didn't think that... I thought for sure I was going to see some dot-dons beforehand, but in some sense I actually wasn't going to be upset because I felt really confident about my execution on this one. And there's certain things I've been struggling with lately, and my Trinex fight in the first week was just horrendous, and
yeah, I saw you practicing that before the race started.
Beforehand. Fortunately, having butter and half magic, it didn't even matter. But yeah, it was just an interesting thing coming down to the wire, because we had to choose between, or at least I had to choose between, 3 items in the back of Skullwoods, including the green pendant, 3 items or accessible items in Thieves Town, or 2 in the desert area. And it was just a matter of weighing out how many I can get versus how long it would take, and that's ultimately why I put off Thieves Town as long as I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was right on my mind, though.
So you did all the others before Thieves?
I did basically everything before Thieves.
Okay. I mean, I did those earlier. It was just, my coin flip was Fat Fairy versus Thieves, and honestly, I think I'm okay with it. With 3 things, if I include the Swamp Big Chest, versus, like I said, by logic, just the one you can reach without the Thieves Town key.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an okay choice. It was not the right choice for me in this particular race.
I think that's how it comes down to with a lot of these, though, and that's like Willard was saying. None of us were making wrong choices with anything. And
I mean, it felt like a decent race. I felt pretty good when I got Hammer. I'm like, this seems like a good thing, because I dove into Ice, even though I knew I couldn't complete it. And when I got Hookshot, I'm like, great, now let's go do Hera, and then I can just do all of Death Mountain. Hey, look, there's Hammer on the Skyloft, so it was nice.
Yeah, it opened the doors wide open at that point.
I'll interrupt you guys here to say that's unfortunate to see from NYRambler. He just took death to Ganon, but looks like he's going to mirror and get back in there soon. And TruzzL is going to join us now. TruzzL? GG.
Wait, is it TruzzL or TruzzL? Now I'm confused. Until they get their mic figured out, I do want to bring up, there was a good discussion we had earlier, because you guys had 2 options of either going to Mire or going to Ice first. And overall, efficiency-wise or optimal-wise or whatever, there's a higher chest count that you can get in Mire as opposed to going to Ice. So that's everyone made that choice. So clearly that was just like the mentally better choice to make.
Neat. That had actually slipped my mind that Ice was even an option at that point, especially without Hammer or Hookshot. It's like, well, it's super, super limited.
Yeah, the going into Ice for the Hookshot and then going to the floating island for Hammer was a nice little trick.
It's always nice to see, and it seems to happen a lot, is like early Bombos leads to Fire Rod and Ice or something like that.
I certainly wasn't expecting to find Fire Rod in there on the second trip.
It was funny.
Yeah, agreed.
But welcome, TruzzL, or TruzzL, whichever you prefer. GG on the run. Finishing only 5 minutes later just goes. It's just one of those like I don't know, made one wrong or one right choice, but 5 minutes difference is pretty good finish time.
Yeah, I'm
So-
pretty happy with that win overall.
Yeah, GG, TruzzL.
Thanks, man.
But yeah, how'd you feel about the seed overall? Any things that stood out, or any things that you feel like you could have done better or done differently?
I think my routing in the beginning was kind of sloppy. I was sort of all over the place. And then I think once I got Hook Shot and Ice Palace, it sort of started to come together a little bit more.
Yeah, as we were saying earlier, everyone kind of was all over the place looking for that next progression until finally everyone ran out of stuff to do and had to go to Ice Palace. Like there was nothing left. So, and then after a hook shot, it's like all of a sudden you have Death Mountain, but then even in Death Mountain, you didn't really get much. You got Hammer and Bow, but then all of a sudden it's like, all right, do I go check those 2 chests in Pod, or do I go back into Ice? And everyone made the Ice Plague, like pretty much right afterwards. So that was cool to see a lot of, 4 different players, all different skill sets, but all kind of making the same choices throughout the run.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Rambler that went into Swamp right after that, right after getting the hammer. But of course, finishing Swamp immediately over to Ice.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him because he did go into Ice, but then bailed to go straight to Swamp instead. He took out the first Freezor and then left. So I wonder if he was like, I need to come back here later, but Swamp just seems like a better choice. There's more stuff to get. Ooh, that was close. He lit the torch and walked a couple pixels into Ganon. I thought he was going to get hit and then get knocked down, but
Nah, he's making his way through. Oh, nice dodge on the bat there.
stressing
He's
me
making
out
his way
here.
through.
So it looks like none of us picked up silvers.
No.
Yeah.
Everyone's go mode was the Mire big keys, so no one opted to get the silvers. For Rambler right here, he does have half magic. I'd like to see him using the Fire Rod. It's a little bit quicker, and you could at least have a better chance of guaranteeing 3 hits per cycle, or per torch light. But regardless,
that'll do it.
he takes him out. Finishing only 16 or 18 minutes behind first place is that's a pretty good spread for players. Yeah, GG's to Rambler. We'll get him in here to chit-chat. And as always, we do have plenty more Keysanity action going on today, everyone. It is 9 p.m. Eastern, so we do have 2 races going on right now. 1 race going on right now. It's a quad over on Speed Gaming 4. And then we have 2 coming up at 10 p.m. Another quad that's going to be on this channel. Right after Fireline, you're doing commentary again?
Apparently.
Oh. Well, good luck.
I'll grab dinner first or something.
Okay.
NYRambler, GG.
Hey, GG.
Joe, how'd you feel about that seat overall? It's going to be on this channel.
It was fine. Early game gave us everything, and then the hook shot. Ugh.
Pretty much.
That hook shot has led to everything else, and I was hoping when I gambled and went into Thieves before even opening Mire that when I found it, I was hoping everyone else double triple dipped TR or Mire, and I had a chance. So I was like, all right, I have a chance, and I'm opening Mire and I see dot done. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah, it was, as we were saying earlier, it was interesting because, everyone had so many options at the beginning because we got a ton of stuff, Dark World access, do this, do that, do that. And then, kept coming up shorthanded. Of course, finding small keys and a couple big keys along the way, but nothing, really getting you any sort of progression until everyone finally made the play into Ice Palace. My first question for you is, we saw you go back into Ice Palace after going up to Death Mountain. You killed the Freezor, but then you mirrored out and went to Swamp instead. What was your thought behind that?
So my thought was, all right, I've already been in Ice. I want to full clear it. And I was thinking, you know what? I want to do Swamp first, just in case Kane's there. Because if Kane's there, I don't have to do the bomb jump again.
Oh,
And sure enough, Kane was there.
that makes perfect sense.
Huh.
I
Very
didn't
nice.
think about that.
I like that.
that bomb jump can be kind of obnoxious.
Yeah, you saw, I had a lot of RNG manipulation to get that, but I finally got it like fifth or sixth try.
It was well manipulated.
Yes.
No, it did give you some grief the first time.
Same thing with the hammering up. I was just like, screw it. Luckily, I found 2 keys, the 2 pod small keys, like right away.
Yeah, everyone except for TruzzL found 6. Well, maybe TruzzL found 6 as well, but there was a lot of pod keys in this one.
Did anyone else open Mire early, like before the Mire big key, and find silvers?
Nobody. No, everybody's go mode item was the Mire big key, so nobody got the silvers.
Okay. Like no, I was saying, so like what was going through my mind before I went back towards Eastern, before I found the Eastern big key, I was thinking maybe I'll open Mire, maybe everything will be in there, like it's a double dip, maybe that's like a gamble I would take. But I was like, that doesn't make really much sense because Mire, if I find the Mire big key as the go mode item, go mode Mire is insanely easy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was interesting because had anyone after T-Rock took the Thieves Town gamble, especially because you were right there. Like if you had done Thieves Town then did Peg Caves, but most players would do Peg Cave into Thieves Town, or yeah.
I wasn't thinking Thieves. I was maybe thinking Thieves Town if I had not found the Eastern big key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think everyone was thinking the same thing probably.
Oh, definitely.
And it was funny because like Eastern led to the pod big key, and it's like, oh man, keep going, man. Now put the Mire key in the bow section or on Helma. And but yeah, if anyone had taken the Mire or taken the Thieves Town dip with the big key, I could probably assure you we would have seen some silver arrows. But nonetheless, everyone having a really good silverless fight. Rambler taking the death at Ganon, unfortunately. But
I missed the glitch, the lamp glitch. So I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna die anyway. I'm low on health. I didn't want to risk it, and I'd just leave, fill up on health, come back, and didn't have much of a problem the second time around.
Yeah, no, that's the one thing is the last thing you want to do is just keep throwing yourself at Ganon and dying over and over again. Take whatever precautions you need. Go get potions, gear up, make sure you're good and ready, and then take them out the next time. And yeah, it was good. Question for TruzzL. Triz? You still there? How long you been playing the Rando? Because your name is not familiar to me.
I want to say I started somewhere in like October, November, somewhere.
Okay.
Around there.
Cool. I just gotta say your execution in this race was really well.
Oh, thanks.
The bomb jumps, the hammer jumps, just movement-wise, everything was really good. And that's the thing, is there's a lot of, in Randomizer, in this community, there's a lot of hidden bosses, so you should never count anyone out. You can go look at their SRL page and see how many races they've done and try and gather what their average time is, but you never know when someone's just going to pop in and show you up. So GG's to you, and GG's to all 4 of you guys for putting on this fantastic show for me and Falion to commentate.
I was looking forward to this all day, and I was not disappointed. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it was a good one.
No problem.
And
thank you guys for commentating, and also thank you to the trackers.
Yes.
Shoutouts to everyone.
Yeah, big thanks again to Mafia Guido and to Nifboy for keeping those trackers so updated all race long. As we said at the start, we actually can't commentate without all those items being so correct. So thanks, guys. You really make this tournament happen.
Well, with that, if you guys have any last comments before signing off, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Well, just thanks Willard and Phyland for commentating. Thank you Nifboy and Mafia Guido for tracking.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
And GG's to Rambler, my worthy
GG,
adversary, and Jet and TruzzL.
GG's to all of my competitors, and make sure you give them a follow.
I can't wait to watch this back on the VOD when it gets uploaded to YouTube tomorrow night.
Yeah, I definitely want to check this one out.
It's going to be a good one. Alrighty, guys. Well, that's going to do it for us here on Speed Gaming 3 for now. At the top of the hour, we will have some more Keysanity action coming your way, so stick around. Go watch one of the races on SG4, and then come back. You're going to be seeing more of my good friend Phylion on commentary, so you can get excited for that. I'll make sure to be in chat heckling him the whole time.
Oh, I look forward to it.
And of course, thank you all for watching. Of course, to the Speed Gaming crew for putting on this amazing tournament. And once again, my name is Will J. Bradley. and we'll see you next time.
Good night, everyone.